Vince McMahon declared Raw as Fan Appreciation Night to open the broadcast on March 4th, with him back in full control for the night, with Ric Flair, while on a tour in Asia, announced as being off the show due to a family emergency, and the storyline reason set to be followed up on later tonight, with Raw, which would be tonight with a limited roster without several top names including Ric Flair, Jericho, Kane, Page, Show, Edge, Regal, and most of the top tag teams in the company, who are all currently overseas working the final day of the tour in Malaysia, with a stadium show on Monday, on a tour that also saw Shane McMahon making his first appearances since the end of the Alliance angle last November, after opening with its biggest first quarter viewership in a year for the nWo promo last Monday, looking to maintain the big audience from the start by kicking off the show with Steve Austin vs. Booker T being placed as the opening match of the night, seeing Austin and Booker going 3 minutes before the nWo ran in to take out Austin, starting a 3-on-1 beatdown of several minutes in a major heat angle 13 days to WrestleMania 18. Opening Raw with a 3.8 rating, with the nWo after taking out Austin, with the in-ring beatdown being his last appearance of the night already by 9:17 p.m., taking over Austin's locker room and the backstage area for the rest of the night, with one member of the group advertised to wrestle his first TV match in years later tonight. With most of the top WrestleMania card established, with the company going all out and promoting the pay-per-view on the Hogan vs. Rock Dream match to the mass audience, the company took out a trade journal ad noting the WWF as the undisputed pay-per-view provider worldwide, with a shot at the boxing events, as after the highly anticipated Mike Tyson vs. Lennox Lewis fight had to be postponed due to Tyson being suspended in Vegas by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. The WWF's ad was highlighted by Rock and Austin in a face-to-face stare-down with a caption that reads, "Sanctioned in Nevada and anywhere else pay-per-view is available," as after starting 2002 with two of the biggest pay-per-view shows in history for the Rumble and No Way Out, with WrestleMania targeted to follow at record levels, the company during the week attempted to further boost the buzz for the show in what could have potentially been one of the most unique segments and biggest stories of the year, with Bret Hart revealing that he got a call from the WWF during the week regarding an appearance on the pay-per-view, as the offer, which was sent through head of WWF Canada Carl DeMarco without direct contact between Vince and Bret, saw the suggestion of Bret either making a surprise appearance on the show by refereeing the Jericho vs. Triple H title match, or being involved in a segment that would see him laying out Vince McMahon in the ring, attempting to get Bret to accept by suggesting that the appearance would not be advertised in advance, along with him getting access to the archived footage of his career, which the company now owns in full from both WWF and WCW, with Bret in his weekly column at the Calgary Sun on Saturday detailing the offer, saying that him walking out unannounced in front of the Toronto crowd might have been the biggest pop in wrestling history. But despite looking to get the rights to footage of his career for the past few years, he declined the offer, saying that he won't let everything that happened from Montreal to the follow-up of the Owen tragedy be minimized in a TV angle, telling McMahon that if he wants to air their differences he can pick up the phone in a private conversation with him, not interested in making it a public spectacle, as Raw, which saw the nWo running the backstage area throughout the first hour, climbed over 500,000 viewers in every quarter to peak with a 4.6 rating between 9:45 to 10 p.m. featuring Trish vs. Jazz going 3 minutes for the women's title, followed by Taker walking to the ring to follow up on Ric Flair's absence after laying him out on SmackDown in response to the Anderson attack. With Flair yet to accept Taker's challenge to officially set up their WrestleMania match, Undertaker came out for a promo to open Raw's second hour, and after attacking former Horseman Arn Anderson it didn't change Flair's mind. Undertaker went to stage 2 of the plan, telling Flair that Anderson's blood is on his hands while also blaming him for what he forced him to do this morning, saying that he had to push the envelope a little bit further by visiting Flair's oldest son, showing the footage of David Flair in his first major TV appearance since the last several months of WCW training at the Stamford facility, with Tom Pritchard followed by Taker coming in to start a major beatdown on Flair all over the building in the second strong heat angle of the night, with Taker continuing to do some of the best character work of his career, taking the intensity of the feud to the next level, reminding Flair that it's just 13 days to WrestleMania, bringing up David's brother and sister, telling Flair to not force him to have to go further, building up the hype for Flair's response on Thursday as the Taker-Flair segment placed at the top of the hour bumped Raw over 600,000 viewers to the highest rated quarter of the night, 4.9 rating, with the second half of it also featuring the entrances and start of a Van Dam vs. Storm match going 6 minutes. After hyping an nWo member to wrestle his first televised match back tonight, Scott Hall was the chosen one with his match against a random opponent set to be next, and with the company building up the hype for the Rock-Hogan match in different ways in the past week while Rock is off television, WWF production was relied on to deliver again by producing 2 all-time great video packages highlighting Hogan and Rock's careers and the parallels of their runs in wrestling and pop culture as the 2 biggest names in the history of the business, with both capturing the biggest audiences worldwide inside the industry and outside in the mainstream media over the past 20 years. And after the Hogan video aired on SmackDown last Thursday, Rock's video was placed during Raw's second hour at 10:20 p.m. to POD's Alive song to maintain a show quarter-high 4.9 rating, going through the last 6 years of Rock's career with him in the short span that the vast majority of wrestlers in history are just establishing their status or entering their peak run, already transcending and taking the industry to new heights, with him holding practically every pay-per-view rating, house show and revenue record in history in a peak that most likely would never be touched again by any performer in history, as while his TV return was officially hyped for the live SmackDown broadcast this Thursday, Rock was in Asia in the middle of headlining a 3-show tour including on the night in Kuala Lumpur in matches against Chris Jericho, drawing sold-out crowds for all 3 shows with a combined attendance of over 42,000 people, selling out immediately, including making his debut in Japan on March 1 with him reportedly coming out in front of over 16,000 people at the Yokohama Arena to one of the biggest ovations for any wrestler in history, going over 20 minutes against Jericho in the main event with the company, in addition to Rock's TV return for the first time since the nWo ambulance truck attack angle on February 18, hyping Flair, who cut promos on the tour to massive reactions, responding to Taker's attack on David in what is said to be one of the most hyped SmackDowns of the year. Scott Hall worked his first televised WWF match since April '96, weeks before Razor Ramon showed up on Nitro to start the industry's road to its biggest ever boom period, squashing Spike Dudley in a quick match with Nash and Hogan at ringside. And after Hall made his in-ring return last week on the weekend house shows and first matches against Austin, last Friday saw Hulk Hogan making his WWF in-ring return for the first time since working against Yokozuna on a European tour in August 1993, returning to the WWF ring against his cousin Rikishi to a massive babyface reaction in front of an hometown crowd in Tampa, Florida, as Hogan, who only worked 1 match against Kurt Hennig last November since leaving WCW post the Bash at the Beach angle with Vince Russo, reportedly suffering a rib injury during the match, with him set to work through it with WrestleMania just 16 days away, on a loaded house show card that, in addition to Hogan vs. Rikishi, also saw Hall vs. Austin closing the night. Triple H and Kurt Angle made their entrances at 10:47 p.m. for the cage match in the main event, and with several key players missing on the night while on the overseas tour, including both men's scheduled WrestleMania opponents in Jericho and Kane, who on Monday worked in 2 matches at Putra Stadium in Malaysia, with Kane teaming with Show against the Dudleys and Jericho defending the title against Rock, went longer than usual over almost the entire final quarter, and the overrun to go 16 minutes in one of the longest matches on Raw in years, seeing the match starting slow with a 4.6 rating for the entrances and first 10 minutes of the match before picking up over 600,000 viewers throughout to peak at a 5 rating in the 7-minute overrun, seeing the match strategically heating up just when crossing 11 p.m. with both hitting the Angle Slam and the Pedigree a minute after the top of the hour, ending up with Stephanie running in to cost Hunter the match, with Angle going over heading into the big live SmackDown broadcast on Thursday, with the entire crew about to return to heat up the WrestleMania build-up heading into the final selling week for the pay-per-view.